Hey, I'm your cult boyfriend, and today we are talking about Jacques Demy's very first film, and a pretty damn good one. It's called Lola, made in 1961 and starring Anouk, Aimée, who I have had a hopeless crush on ever since I saw her in La Dolce Vita for the first time, where she definitely played easily the most fascinatingly nihilistic character. She made nihilism sexy for me as a rotten 19-year-old cynic, and I've never been able to forget her. She was excellent in La Dolce Vita, and it's excellent seeing what Demy does with her here. And let's talk for a minute about what he does with her here. This isn't a musical, though there is one musical number, um, and it's by far the most unforgettable part of the film. It is playful, it is sexy, it is comical. Most of all, it's probably the most revealing part of the film, especially when dealing with Lola's character. I'm interested in. Well, I like French filmmakers a lot. I like French films a lot. Um, I've been really interested and taken away, swept away, truly, by how French filmmakers view women or the feminine ideal, because it truly is an ideal and it truly is feminine. A lot of it's about idolization. Yet, Demy doesn't approach it with the same sort of naivety or playfulness that Godard or Truffaut would approach the same sort of material in their early work. Demy was always extremely complicated in this, and it might have to do with his sexuality, but Lola does not seem to possess a truly identifiable personality, right? She's what her three suitors need her to be. Roland Cassard needs her to be perpetually 14 in his memory and also perpetually unreachable and always rejecting him. He needs her that way to operate in his existentially adrift behavior that he has grown accustomed to. The American sailor needs Lola to be the more mature and overtly sexual French European ideal. That's what he needs her to be in his memory, because he knows when he goes back to Chicago, he will never be back again. So he has to make the most of these memories and crystallize them correctly in the most larger than life way. And Michelle needs her to be uh, an unreal maternal figure, or a perpetual one. They need her in perpetuity, though. Absolutely. They need her to be perpetual, the perpetual feminine ideal. And Lola, in the song that she sings, It's Me, Lola, but It's Me, Lola simultaneously means nothing and every single thing. See, while this isn't a musical, Jacques Demy is still theatrical, philosophically. Our life is theater, or cinema is truly the theater, the modern theater, the postmodern theater. And the feminine ideal is quite a huge part of our theater, or the romantic ideal, I should say, to be more encompassing. And Lola allows us to have the kind of tragedies or romantic comedies or farces that we desire so much. As Roland Cassard says, and probably the most potent philosophical statement that the film makes, there's a bit of happiness in simply wanting happiness. And that's what Lola offers. That's what she offers. She offers a dramatist's approach to eroticism. If life is theater, then Lola's going to make sure that there is drama, that there is comedy, that there is something divine, something ideal, and something lovely about it, but not necessarily loving, because you already love her. That is your ideal. See, this is very interesting because it is quite distinct. See, I would be using the same sort of language when talking about how Truffaut would photograph Jean Moreau, or how Godard, of course, would photograph Carina, or Bardot, or even Belmondo, but that's a kind of different discussion. But they diverge from Demy at a very important and significant place, where Lola is not turning Anouk Aimée into a muse, just like he didn't turn Catherine Deneuve into a muse in Umbrellas of Cherbourg and The Young Girls of Rochefort. He's not a man who needs a muse. And I think that that's what makes it so incredible, too. Because while she's idolized, she's not necessarily idolized by the film. She's idolized by the characters within it, which turn her into an untouchable, unreadable archetype. But all if she had time with us, and she does have time with just us, where she sings to the camera, at us, in a truly Demy-esque way, before that was truly a thing. When she has the time for just us to sing to just us, she is the most revealing. She says, "It's me, Lola. Um, I'm basically whoever you want. I wear many different kinds of very attractive hats. Whatever you want, whatever sort of film, whatever sort of narrative you want, whatever you want me to be, I can be it temporarily." You know? My God, that's gorgeous. Gorgeously done. It's very interesting seeing Jacques Demy work in a small budget atmosphere using mostly natural lighting, as I am really obsessed with his intricately designed and meticulously and colorfully composed, crafted, and arranged musicals. Like, so seeing him work in a much more limited scope is very interesting, and gives Lola a rather understated approach to content, to composition. It's interesting seeing Demy work in a rather limited space and still find a way to make some rather theatrical statements, because he is a filmmaker of theatricality and sentimentality. And you get that here. If you need Lola to be sentimental, she can be just that. And that's the thing. Men need women to be sentimental, or we all need our lovers to be sentimental, or else they would not be lovers. Roland Cassard's greatest weakness, his largest flaw, rather than other than being just like having giant simp energy, Roland Cassard's biggest flaw was over intellectualizing love and fatalistically writing the end of the play in his head. Like, Roland Cassard over intellectualize love to the point where there's no texture to it anymore. Just existentialism. And that's not existence. That's just naively embarrassing. Lola is not. I'm losing words here. Demy has this remarkable power over me where I lose myself in his films. Lola has some really interesting camera work. Some pretty beautiful. It's about intersecting lives, as Demy is obsessed, or at least intrigued throughout his entire filmic career, of missed connections and intersecting lives, and Lola is definitely the blueprint for his future works in that respect. These are intersecting lives, crisscrossing, near misses, chance encounters that are so sentimental that they could mark your entire life. Lola has this remarkable part where a 14-year-old and an American sailor form an unlikely friendship, and the little girl is certainly developing a crush on the American sailor, and they go to a carnival, and then they run hand in hand in slow motion. It is so lovely, so touching, and I was really just in awe of that photography and of those feelings that it was evoking, and even their earlier connection where they were reading the comic book Meteor together. Do you think the planet's inhabited? Oh, I sure do. It was quite a remarkable cinematic friendship, truly. I was really just fascinated by it. Anouk Aimée, of course, is the most incredible thing about the film. She absolutely, I'm absolutely in love with her. She's incredible. She's always great. She's always amazing. And Lola, as like this character right here, she's fierce. She's basically perfect. But there I go, forming my own ideal, because a part of that is inescapable. You know, it's the inescapability of the theatricality of life. Our lives, since we are pattern seeking creatures, right? We seek out narratives, we seek out comedies and dramas, and we seek out narratives where there aren't any. So we force a narrative onto a romantic interest. Like, we do that. That's what we do. It's inescapable. But that's also what gives life its story, its movement, its rhythm. Speaking of rhythm, Michel Legrand, who would be Demy's longtime composer, excellent music. And I love that Roland Cassard and Lola both appear in future Demy works. So this is truly the start of the interconnected Demy cinematic universe. But Roland Cassard, of course, appears in their Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and he even tells the story of loving Lola. And we see that shopping center in color, and one of the most eerily romantic parts of The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which, by the way, is probably my favorite film of all time. I love that film and the young girls of Rochefort so much. Lola is nowhere near as good as those two films, but really, there aren't any films that are as good as those two films. But we do hear, it was cool watching this film after watching The Umbrellas of Cherbourg so many times, because you heard, Roland's theme for the first time here, and it's reprised and given lyricism in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. So it was really cool seeing Lola in this way, and since Demy would keep going back to these characters and these themes and these motifs, there's truly something here that's at the heart of Demy's entire filmic output. His entire philosophy is probably somewhere hidden within this film, and it is a fascinating one, and it's a very, very, very good film. And I think I love it. I think that Jacques Demy is probably my favorite filmmaker, honestly, and I'm so happy that I'm discovering him now and not when I was a cynical 19-year-old. But even then, I was still in love with Anouk Aimée. So, you know, some things never change, I guess. Lola's great. Lola is great. It's a very good film. Quite love it. Very good. Okay. Wow. Wow. Jacques Demy. Yeah, I think it should be viewed as well, as a staple of the French New Wave. It's not. I think it's just as emblematic of the movement as the early works of Truffaut, Chabrol, and Godard and Varda. I think it should be viewed um, with the same esteem, you know. But even if it never is, it doesn't matter. The theatricality, the pure sentimentality of Demi, which expresses itself in cinematic and theatrical ways and arrangements, will live on forever, and I'm in love with them. Thank you for watching. I've been your cult boyfriend, and it's me, Lola. So good. Thanks for watching. La 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 la. What are you doing here?